Bill O'Reilly continues his strange fascination with presidential assassinations. I don't know what it is. First it was Lincoln. Now it's Kennedy. And I don't know. McKinley is next. I'm not sure what he's working on. Number one best-selling author, the number one book in America. Been on the best-selling list now for, I think, 53 weeks.
53,000 weeks.
53,000 weeks. Is epic book, Killing Lincoln, now being followed with Killing Kennedy, and it is just as good. We have Bill O'Reilly on the phone now. Hello, Bill.
In a couple of minutes.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, he has.
Do I show up at his show on time? What the hell is
He's
that?
apparently decided that maybe there's a breakfast situation, a breakest emergency. Maybe there's a delicious hash brown he's finishing off.
He might be finishing up the research on killing McKinley.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, he might be doing that.
He's gonna get hammered for this.
Mm-hmm. And
I may not talk about his book now.
Yeah.
All right, here's the truth. I haven't read it. I don't like it.
How would you know?
Because he's late.
Yeah, I think he's on now.
Now he's on. Okay, now Bill. Now that you're late, I mean, I show up on your. I show up on your chair on time.
I've been calling you guys.
Oh no! Don't even start. All right. So, what is seriously? What is the weird thing with your fascination with the deaths of former presidents? Are you working on killing McKinley now?
Beck, did you read the book?
I have to apologize to you. I haven't.
You haven't read it.
I haven't, and I know you sent it to me early, and I haven't read it, but I will read it, Bill.
I'm going to hire someone to read it to you.
No,
that person will be there.
Really?
Later on.
Actually, it would be really good. I would like that.
Listen, Beck. Most of this book is about JFK when he was alive, just as most of the Lincoln book was about Lincoln when he was running around. And the worthiness of the book is that we knock out all of the myths, all of the garbage, all of the rumor, all of the innuendo.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't knock it all out. There's one story that I was really interested in, and you couldn't get it done.
Which was?
The guy who was hanging around Lee Harvey Oswald, CIA guy.
What's his name?
Bob.
If I would have read the book, I would have known. But
Actually, that is one, and it's a Dallas guy.
Yeah, I know. And this is actually, I am interested in this. You said that this is the one guy that you couldn't nail down because were you on his track and he committed suicide?
Fascinating story. 1976. I'm working at WFAA in Dallas. All right. I was always interested in the Kennedy assassination, and I'm researching. A friend of mine is an investigator for the House committee looking into the assassination. He calls me up. He says, "You got a guy in Dallas named George de Mohrenschildt. He's a Russian emigre. He's teaching at Bishop College, which was a black college, and this guy knows a lot about Oswald." I immediately try to track de Mohrenschildt down. He runs. He dodges. He knows I'm after him. All right? So I go to his house a number of times. Finally, and this was against the law, I actually broke into his house. And nobody knows that. I'm telling the Glenn Beck program. This is the first time. This is not even in the book.
Hold on just a second. Somebody get Eric Holder on the phone.
Okay.
All right. We have you on tape.
This he'll track down.
This he will
track down.
Voter fraud, everything going on. No, not interested. Wait a minute. Bill in 1976.
Here's the deal, Beck. I was dressed like a Black Panther, so he's not going to do anything.
Right. You were very convincing as a Black Panther.
So I actually, the back door, the back sliding door was open, and I opened it, and I stepped into his living room, I guess it was, all right? And there was nobody nobody there. I pounded on the door, this, that, and the other thing. So I had a cameraman with me. There's blood on the rug. So I thought this was really strange. Went back, told my assignment editor, immediately said, "Don't ever do that again, and don't tell anybody." Now, we got a line that de Mohrenschildt was visiting his daughter in Manalapan, which is just south of Palm Beach, Florida.
Wait. Where'd the blood come from, Bill? I
don't know.
You didn't do anything about it? I mean, there could have been somebody dead.
No, the assignment editor said, because you broke in, we don't want to do anything about it. It could have just been, a dog or something like that. Nobody knew anything. So I get on a plane. I head out to Palm Beach, Florida. The story gets better. All right? right?
Well, I'm just trying to think. I'd just like to apologize to the parents of that missing girl in the 1970s whose body was never found. Bill O'Reilly apparently found her, but...
Well, now Holder are definitely going to get me.
All right, go ahead.
So we show up in Florida, and my friend Gaetan Fonzie is also trying to get DeMoore and Shield to serve him a subpoena.
That's amazing.
So we both of us are heading out to the house. I get to the house, all right, and DeMoore and Shield blows his brains out with a shotgun on the second floor of his daughter Alexandra's house. Now,
While you're there?
book.
While
Well,
you're
I'm
there, Bill?
on there.
Wow.
And then the Palm Beach police are all over the place. They seal the place down.
Wow.
Now, I have not been able to nail down why this man, DeMoore and Shield, who was an aristocrat, wealthy man, was hanging around Lee Harvey Oswald, who was the bottom rung, the lowest level. Why would a guy like that be hanging around a guy like this? Now, I've sleuthed it. I've done everything. We know DeMoore and Shield had ties to the CIA. He actually knew Bush the Elder. Actually wrote him a letter saying that he was being hounded by congressional investigators. He wrote because Bush the Elder was the head of the CIA at the time. And we have not been able to make that connection. But that is really one of the few things that we have not been able to nail down in killing Kennedy.
All right. So Oswald was a lone shooter.
He shot him by himself, no doubt about it. We have access to the FBI.
Was he a Russian?
Like that.
Was he a Russian agent?
There is no evidence of that.
Was he? Why did he go over to the Soviet Union?
He went over to the Soviet Union because he was a loser and a communist. He was a communist. And he thought he was going to have a great life over there. That's where he met his wife in Minsk. All right? It didn't work out. He came back. The FBI shadowed him. The FBI watched him. He was a socialist, communist kook running around. He was in New Orleans. If he was a Russian agent, he wouldn't have had so much trouble getting into Cuba. He wanted to go to Cuba. He went down to Mexico City. We trace every bit of him, by the way. You'll learn when you read the book, or I have somebody read it to you. And you'll learn all of this. Fascinating.
If you're offering to have somebody read it to me, I'll take that. You could hire him and send him down here. I'm trying to create jobs.
I'm definitely going to do that. I'm just going to have somebody come over.
We're going to get to the election here in a second, but I want to ask you. I want to ask you another.
You're going to love this book, by the way.
I loved Lincoln.
The fact that you haven't read it and the fact that I sent it to you like 2 months ago.
I know.
You're going to love this.
I know.
This is right up your alley because it unmasks the whole government, the CIA and what they did with the Bay of Pigs, the Vietnam War, Kennedy ordering the assassination of Diem. This is right. This is where you live, Beck.
No, I loved Lincoln. I hate myself for saying it, but I loved your book about Lincoln. I'll read another one. But
good.
Okay, so
man for it.
All right. So let me ask you the one other question that I'm curious about the book is you say there was a turning point in Kennedy's life, and it was the death of his son.
And almost like your story, and I'm not being facetious now.
Oh, boy.
Almost like the Glenn Beck story. Here's Kennedy.
He started a network?
Pretty much what he wants to do. Whatever Kennedy wants to do, whatever babe he wants to go after, whatever...
Yeah, I know. If it moves, he's interested.
Okay.
Right.
So Kennedy's one of the most powerful men in the world. He's doing whatever he wants to do. And it doesn't matter if it hurts his wife, his children, whatever, he does it.
Tell me when this gets to a story that resembles me at all, but go ahead.
Okay. Remember in your early days, back when you were rolling in Connecticut, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was drinking a lot.
That's what you wanted to do, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So then there's something happens to JFK. What happens is his baby dies, Patrick. And we spend a lot of time on the book on that.
Did you think about naming the book Killing Patrick?
No,
all right.
Because there are a lot of other things in the book, but thank you for that suggestion.
All right, well, I just...
So the poor baby who dies, and JFK is profoundly affected. He changes. He doesn't become a saint overnight like you did, but he his whole outlook changes, and his presidency changes.
So did he become a Republican?
Almost. He wanted to cut taxes. He wanted to limit government. But you'll see in the book what happens there.
All right, so Bill, first of all, we're going to talk about the election here in a second. The name of the book is Killing Kennedy, and Killing McKinley is coming up, and Shooting but Missing Truman, I'm sure, will be the follow-up.
Stabbing Caesar is down the road a ways.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get to the election here, but
you
I
feel
just
better now for making fun of me?
I do. I have to make fun of it. The last one is still what is it, number 4 this week? You're a machine. Now listen.
Killing Kennedy is going to be number 1.
And here's
Killing Lincoln is still number 4.
That's
after 52 weeks.